This is Innova's premier event. It's the kickoff of the season. It's the first stop of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I mean, you want to show up and you want to show up big. So, I'm trying to play aggressive but conservative and mostly just be smart about wind management.
It means a lot to me just because, that first putt, no matter where it is, can always be a little nervy, but it was just really exciting because it's the start of the season and first round, first hole. It's like, I don't know, kind of like recess, it's just fun being out there.
I was a wind warrior today. I've never done that well at Vegas, mostly because I'm so scared of the wind, but
it was very inconsistent, very gusty. Sometimes the gusts stayed for a little longer than you wanted, and it was, toughest conditions I think since maybe DDO last year.
Yeah, I felt good. Like my driving were pretty good. I didn't make any really big mistakes, and I had fun.
I chose the right equipment this time, thanks to Innova discs, and my upshots were most of the time like right under the platform of the basket, so it's literally a drop-in. And that's so stress-free out here that I hope I can play that way for the rest of the weekend.
I don't know, it feels good to feel good.
Hello and welcome to round 2 of 4 of the 2023 Las Vegas Challenge, the first event of the year. Today we are playing the Innova course, which is the premier course on the property. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the two hot geese.
Honk.
Yeah, the wind was a bit down today. Definitely need to be under par to be in contention out here. I'm very excited to see how these women attack the course.
Yeah, it's a longer course than what we played yesterday at the Infinite Disc course at 8,762 feet. So that's like about 2,000 extra feet of distance. The par is a little higher too at 69. There's a lot more water to deal with out here. So a little bit more trouble, but the fairways are nice and wide. And like Erika said, no wind.
Yeah, at least to start. It definitely picks up as we go. So we'll definitely have some classic Vegas conditions by the end, but nothing like yesterday.
Yeah, thanks again to UDISC for the stats. We'll be referring to them all day long like we do every time we do commentary. We love the stats. We know you guys do as well. Let's take a peek at who we're going to watch today. Catrina Allen. Her OB rate only 11%. That's got to be low in the FPO field, yes, especially after yesterday.
So it's second. Rebecca Cox, 100% circle one putting. She's kind of changed her putting style from a nose down to a little bit more direct spin putt. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, especially as the wind maybe picks up throughout the round.
Let's see, Henna also with a fairly low OB rate, but look at that park percentage, 22% is unbelievable.
So good. Definitely needs to lower that OB rate though as well to get the best scoring conditions. And Holly Finley keeping it in bounds. So cool to hear her in that interview, battling the wind, staying in the fairway.
Yeah, wind warrior.
Yeah,
majestic.
So awesome. Metal.
Metal. Super metal. All right, hole 1. What a great starting hole. You're elevated, you're throwing over some water that doesn't really come into play. There's out of bounds on the right-hand side with that cart path and some out of bounds on the left as well, but you really have to shank one to get over there. You're throwing generally downhill, so this 353 feet is very reachable. It was pretty calm on hole 1. This side hill creates some putting issues.
Catrina, the defending champion of this tournament from last year. I think the way, if you really want to attack this hole, is to go to the right of that little tree, if you really want to park it, but that really brings that cart path into play. So you see a lot of people gonna go directly at it and maybe hyzer out a little early and leave kind of a longer putt. Catrina attacking really well. I think she got just past that tree.
Love to see Rebecca Cox on the lead card in day 2 at the first event of the year. She's always been a strong player on tour, but it's nice. She went through some form changes the last couple of years, like Erika said too, some putting changes, and it's great to see it all working out for her.
Yeah, driving and putting, both. And yeah, her form's looking really clean, super smooth. As you can see, she's throwing a grand grace.
And crushing it.
Yeah. And this is, like we said, kind of, if you're going to make a mistake, just be left and, get in circle 2.
Holly is well known for throwing lightweight discs, so it's pretty cool to see her kind of striving through adversity adversity yesterday. Lightweight discs are hard to throw in the wind, but she did it well.
Yeah, lightweight and, understable. She can really work the angles of a disc, but yeah, it gets harder as the wind picks up. She keeps that one pretty low. Hopefully she can get up and down from par, or for par from there. Henna had a super clean round yesterday. Her putt is looking good. You all know that she crushes. This is a destroyer. What do you think, right or left of the one
I think
tree?
she's going to take the big arm route.
Yeah.
Right. Although she does have a really nice flex line game.
Super linear shot. Yeah, keeps it safe the whole way, and we'll have a putt. Looks like at circle's edge.
Holly lining up a sidearm approach. That's a new facet to her game. She started incorporating it last year and apparently put a lot of work in it on the off season. It's a great place to be. A little bit of a deathy comeback putt, but just outside the bullseye.
Rebecca just going to lay up for her par. Yeah, it's cool to see Holly Finley throw forehands and Sarah Hokum throw backhands and everyone just continuing to improve their skills. Catrina for birdie. Ooh,
Dang.
heart of the chains.
Wow, what a start. One of only 5 birdies on the day. That's 9% of the field.
That was so good.
We get a little slow mez action.
It is worth noting that Paige Pierce and Kristen Tatar are not at this tournament. So people like, Henna or maybe people we haven't seen quite as much of, going to need to give it a really strong run to beat Catrina. She's very comfortable at this course.
She also really loves, playing golf courses in general. Anything where she can open up. Even though only 9% of the field taking a birdie, only 11 taking a bogey or worse. Minimal mistakes on hole 1, a nice, friendly starting hole, and then we head to hole 2.
Yeah, definitely one of the more interesting holes just because there's a bunch of trees instead of just one. A lot of people are going to throw maybe a straight or slightly stable mid-range. You do see some fairway drivers, you see some forehands, so just pick your poison and point and shoot, keep it low under the trees. You're going to get some ground play, so landing in circle 2 and trying to scoot up to get a putt is the typical play. Like this.
Wow, that's perfect.
Wow. It's like she knew what I was going to say.
She's like, here, I'll show you how it's done. I don't know if this is different from in years past, but there is a new little patch of out of bounds just to the left of the green that does come into play if you hyzer out. So you don't want to go too overstable here. You want it to finish straight, not get that flare skip ground at the end.
Yeah, I think that probably is new. Rebecca with a good shot. I think she landed on the left side of the circle. Holly catches one of the trees and lands short.
Another thing to note about this morning is it was very cold.
It was chilly.
Even without the wind, it was really hard to keep your hands warm and keep your body warm.
This is a champion rock 3 for Henna. She gets it to about 35 feet just outside the circle. Looks like Holly's got a window to work with. And lays it up into the bullseye, which the bullseyes have been corrected to the actual distance. They were a bit big yesterday. Rebecca from, about 70 feet? Yeah, I was going to say that tree branch comes into play.
That drops her down right on the circle's edge.
Yeah, definitely more of a putt than you want for par.
Nice bid from Henna, just a little low again. But dead center. This hole left me hungry for more woods golf.
Yeah, right.
It's like a little tease.
You want this one so badly.
Another little branch action just before it gets to the basket, and Rebecca's going to have to settle for the bogey on this very short hole 2.
Holly with a good second shot to make an easy par. Catrina threw her Catrina Allen SP Rift off the tee for an absolute park job and a perfect 2-for-2 start.
About 25% of the field getting this birdie. This is like Erika said, one that you really need to get. And these first like 6 holes do have a lot of birdie opportunities.
Yeah. I would say out of the first 3, you want at least 1, if not 2 of them. Like that's probably what everyone's thinking.
That's how you feel comfy.
Mm-hmm.
Hole 3 is our first water problem. It's a nice little 260-foot hyzer shot. There is out of bounds on the right side if you do flip something over, but the main issue here is getting around those big sticky trees so you do not drop into that out of bounds corner. There is a drop zone on the short side of the water if you do find out of bounds and do not land safely. The basket's elevated just to add some interest on the green. This is one that everyone is absolutely itching to get.
Totally.
A lot of people will play a big hyzer and try to get some ground play.
That's really wide. It's a quake, so it has a ton of stability, it looks like, and gets into the circle easily. First, I thought she yanked it.
Me too. Super big hyzer. Holly taking a little bit more inside route with a little bit gentler of a flight.
I kind of like the Catrina line where you kind of just throw, straight and then let the stability of the disc carry you towards the pin. But Holly doing it justice.
What did she throw?
That was a Star AVR X3.
Oh, okay.
So putter action.
A putter glide.
Oh, that was really beautiful as well.
I don't know if everyone's just getting better, but man, this hole is playing easier than I've ever seen. And it feels easier on the tee pad too. I'm not even scared.
They actually, I think, added more OB. Like this wall wasn't there before. So you there's more islandy.
Yeah, no safe play. Yeah, 42% of the field taking a birdie. That is huge.
That's
We've
great.
got this hole dialed. And I mean, like I said, I felt more comfortable than ever on this tee pad. We're growing. As a field.
Did you talk about that there is a drop zone? I forget.
Yes. Fortunately, none of our competitors are seeing it. It's about 200 feet from the basket, just on the short side of the water.
Rebecca leaves her birdie attempt short. Here's Catrina to go 3 for 3, but she's high left side. She'll have to settle for 2 for 3. And there's Holly Finley getting under par. Oh, you know what? This makes more sense. Henna threw the AVR X3.
Okay.
I actually don't think that I have Holly's list. I was confused when I said it, though, so sorry about that.
Yeah, Holly looked like it was maybe like a Mako or something.
That's kind of what I thought.
Very
It looked like a
gentle.
mid.
Henna finding her way under par as well.
Hole 4 is a par 3. It's 384 feet. This triple mandatory is new and definitely makes you think about it. You're going to essentially just try to get through that first and foremost, but it calls for a very large, booming turnover shot. The biggest arms in the game can get there pretty easily, but I do think the triple mandatory is going to take a lot of the birdies out of play that we normally see.
Yeah, I think in order to get there, a lot of
You need
people
some
have to go
height.
high.
Yeah.
You can see Holly erring on that side. That's really the only way to get there is to kind of go up and over those trees. And this triple mandatory removes that. You have to have more of a punchy low shot like we see Henna.
Let's see if she can get there.
Attempting. Oh, she turns it over and it catches that last bush before she gets out into the open, but she still is almost to circle 2 land. This play is the second most difficult hole, probably just because of this triple mandatory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it never had that many birdies to begin with.
But it was never...
It was never that
difficult.
hard either. I mean, there is a side hill and there's a cart path behind the pin, so you can find some trouble if you're not careful, but definitely quite a bit more difficulty with the triple mandatory.
Yeah, and a pretty wide open 384-foot hole. Normally, you wouldn't expect to see 35% of the field taking a bogey or worse.
Ouch.
And that is what happened in reality.
This is a pretty flex shot from Rebecca, and she gets to the whisker of circle 2.
There is some out of bounds behind the basket as well that comes into play pretty quickly. You really want to monitor your approaches and your putting.
So Holly's second shot here doesn't look like she turns it quite as much as she wants. We'll see what kind of putt she has for her par save.
Definitely more wind in this round than I saw during my early round.
Yeah, you played a little early.
Yeah, a lot of wind.
I was on third card, and we started to get some pretty good wind around hole 7. So I imagine hole 5, 6, which starts to get pretty touchy. We're gonna see it start to really happen for these ladies. Huh? Just a layup from Holly. Not messing around.
So seeing where everyone on this lead card, seeing where their drives landed, you can see how tough the birdie is here. There was only one on the day. Jessica Weiss got it. I wonder if it was a sidearm.
I know. You never know. That's my favorite game. What is Jessica Weiss going to throw sidearm or backhand?
And usually it's backwards from what you would expect.
Totally. Henna with a nice easy par there. Kind of interesting to see both Holly and Catrina lay up from a relatively short distance, but you do see quite a few rollaways on this hole.
And because this hill is very gently sloping and long, it can roll away very far.
That's true. We've all seen it.
We've all seen it.
Rebecca going to take a par as well as Catrina there, and we'll just move on.
Hole 5 is the first par 5 of the day. The tee shot is a big turnover ideally, or maybe just a really straightforward pushing shot. There is out of bounds on the left-hand side if you hyzer out off the tee. You want to avoid that big tree, but ideally land past it. The further you land, the shorter your approach is, and this approach is able to be reached all the way to the basket. This out of bounds green is the only thing in the way, and then there's out of bounds on the cart path all the way around the back side of the green. This is an eagleable par 5 for sure by everyone on the lead card. Pretty much everyone in the field. If you get a good tee shot.
Like if you're past that one tree on the right, you're terrible roll. You're definitely thinking about going for it on your second shot. Is it coming back in?
Yeah, she rolls out of bounds and then comes back in. But unfortunately, she's only about 250 feet off the tee.
Yeah, it'll likely be a pitch up. But then you can still go for birdie. I do really like this hole, but it's kind of a classic Vegas example of, is it an appropriate par? You know?
It
wow,
is cool.
Catrina goes to the right side of that tree, which is just such an awesome play. I love when people do that. I am not brave enough.
It is super aggressive and super narrow, especially that tree just to the right of the tee pad.
But it bites the distance off so well.
Yeah, that tree just to the right of the tee pad comes in really close, and it makes it very scary to try that line.
Do you know from personal experience?
I used to throw that line, but this year I looked at it and I was like, those trees got bigger.
Rebecca, I would say, with kind of the traditional play, right at that tree and hyzering out with her sergeant.
Holly trying to flip something, get some distance. She's really taken to the sky this year.
Yeah, hopefully that... Oh, good. It just bites. I do believe that left side OB line is new.
It is.
As a spectator area.
Yeah, and it is tighter than you expect.
So everyone inbounds. Henna first to go on her second shot. That looks like a mid.
And she's probably just trying to really meter the distance on the second shot, because that green and there's a little bunker on the left side come into play super quick, and there's no reason to try to get aggressive here.
Right, you don't need to get super close to that green. You can see the basket once again perched on a side hill. There's probably, 40 feet behind it before the cart path comes into play. Holly lays up as well.
So where Holly and Rebecca landed, they probably still have about, if I had to guess, 300 to maybe 300 and change. Oh, no, Rebecca's closer. She's probably like 275 or 300 to the basket. Yep. But she lays up as well. It's a kind of a scary shot because you have to do a big turnover around that sticky tree in order to crash the green. There's not a hyzer route. And there is this distant sidearm as well that I watched Evelina throw today.
Cool to see Catrina bring out the sidearm.
Wow.
That's so smart to skip off that golf green. It takes a lot of guts to do that. Really well done. Catrina has an eagle bid.
Henna throwing her third.
Her standstills are looking pretty solid. Her standstill, a little touch approach.
That might be the strongest part of her game. She's so good at those. Even in crazy wind.
Holly throwing 3, leaves it just a bit shorter than you want.
Yeah, she'll have a death putt as well, and it drops off pretty substantially. There is some space back there, though, before the out of bounds.
Rebecca going sidearm. And gets a little bit of an unfavorable roll. She's at 22-ish feet, but going uphill. Holly for birdie.
Oh, yeah.
Solid.
Into a headwind.
Gets her to 1 under on the round. Rebecca hunting that birdie.
And she'll be back to even on the round.
Yeah, nice. Confident putts from our lead card ladies here. Henna for her birdie. Just short.
God, right on top of the cage, but thankfully it laid down.
Yeah, you see some rollaways for sure. Look at that. What a
Solid.
easy eagle. Really well played from Catrina.
What a way to start the round. 4 down through 5.
Not bad.
Hole 6. It's a downhill, very scary island hole.
Yeah, it's a par 3, 222 feet. They've tightened up the left side OB a little bit this year, so it's a little bit more of a circle. If you do not land safe, there is a drop zone at about, 40 feet maybe, going straight at the water. So
Super
it's,
death putt.
Yeah, risk reward time. This might be, okay, good, it's safe, but that is a pretty treacherous putt. You see some people lay up, just not messing with it, taking the par. There's kind of 2 main plays, I think, for a right-hand player: to hang it out a little bit more like this, like Rebecca's doing, and hyzer in, or kind of going straight at it, trying to land short on the hill and just get 1 skip towards the basket.
What's really in your head here is that palm tree just to the right of the tee pad. It doesn't let you take a big hyzer route. You have to really push that tree in order to do the hyzer route. Kind of makes you want to throw a flex. I believe there was a bit of a headwind on this hole.
Yeah, just enough to think about. Henna looks like it has a lot of speed as well, but they're all landing safe. Just some scary putts coming up. Making this putt is one of the best feelings, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth running personally.
Like the high approach. Yes, that's exactly how you have to do it. Losing speed as it gets to the basket. There's about 15 feet behind the basket, but it steeply drops off straight into the water.
Catrina with a jumper. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, she's coming in clutch
Man,
today.
Just following up that eagle. Wow. 5 down through 6. Not
That was
bad, huh?
not losing speed as it hit the basket.
Yeah, no, that was a full committed run. Holly just deciding to lay up again. It's, if that's your game plan, you got to respect that. If you land in the water and, maybe even miss your comebacker and start stacking strokes, that can really harm your mental game.
It's also just the absolute worst to lose your putting putter in the water. There's
is.
nothing that messes with your mental game more than throwing your putting putter in the water.
Rebecca cages her birdie attempt and just taps in for a par.
30% of the field taking a birdie here.
Nice.
Yep. It's really, really great showing.
And how many were over par?
30%. We got a 30, 40, 30 scoring spread.
Pretty ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a fun hole.
And right into hole 7. Oh,
nope.
We got a check-in first.
Tricked ya.
Rebecca and Catrina holding on to their spot in the lead.
Ella Hansen 6 down?
Yeah, sneaking up into the top 3.
Rocketing up. I don't know what you mean, sneaking. Ellen Widboom also 6 down. Man, we are seeing some hot scores out here. Oh, Madison Walker, honk.
Oops.
Oops. 7 down.
A lot more people under par, and I think we can owe that mostly to the conditions.
Absolutely.
Hole 7, one of the scariest tee shots, I think, on any of the courses. You have to carry water most of the way and land in this little triangle landing zone just before this out-of-bounds green. Then your approach is a little, 100-ish foot approach shot that you usually slide across that green and try to avoid both of those out-of-bounds bunkers. If you go deep, it drops off really quickly behind the basket towards an out-of-bounds cart path. If you don't stick this drive, there's a little drop zone right at the front of that cart path.
Wow, what great trust from Catrina. That was her pro line swirl Andrew Marweed Hurricane.
The drop zone is 220 feet from the basket.
Hopefully we won't see anyone throw from it. This is a famous hole for Garrett Gerthy's ace. It's a par 4 for the men as well, so pretty cool. You do occasionally see some of the women going for it, but it's pretty risky.
This layup is extremely challenging as well. You want to stay away from the water, but that ground play that we just see Holly dealing with is kind of the trouble with erroring left.
Yeah.
It's so fast and so easy to find that big flare skip.
Henna getting a lot of height. She's throwing a champion Thunderbird, and it's close. It's OB. Just barely. It is such a weird little triangle to land on. I really like the width that Catrina gave it over the water. It takes...
You almost have to.
A lot of commitment to make yourself do that. And this from Holly looks like it's going into the bunker.
Just short.
So the bunkers play as hazard.
This is such a touchy approach. I mean, the play, I think, is to kind of slide it across the green.
Just
but
a straight putter, 1 skip or 2 off the green. But again, it's just tough to commit to. That was really well done, even though it's super close to the bunker.
Yeah.
From Henna.
Another nice little standstill.
Catrina, no stranger to perfect standstill shots. So,
Ooh, that little Annie skip.
that's going to be kind of weird footing, probably. Rebecca.
Unfortunately, trickling into that bunker as well. This is how the strokes add up on this treacherous hole 7. 61% of the field with a bogey or worse.
Rebecca attempting a par save here from the hazard. Too low. She doesn't look happy with the attempt.
It's so scary because if you ramp off the cage, you can roll down the hill or
Yeah,
go into the other bunker. It's like every direction is a death putt.
Henna just a little bit off on the putting green today. She's
High-low,
all over
high-low.
the basket. Yeah. Hopefully she'll dial it in as we go.
A putting stroke is looking confident, though.
Uh-oh. That's into the other bunker.
Ooh, and that had some heat on it.
Is this for 7, 8? Oh, man. This is going to be a big number. I can't quite do the math.
That's a respectable layup, though. I mean, it feels awful.
Yeah, you can just go back and forth in those bunkers for all time. Catrina, just another easy birdie. She's looking unstoppable out here. What a clean card. Look at all the pretty colors.
26% of the field taking a birdie, even though they're 60% taking a bogey or worse. So it's out there. It's got one of those holes where you're going to do one or the other.
Man, that was a quad for Holly. Brutal. Oof. Hole 8 is kind of a tweener par 4 at only 417 and downhill. It is reachable. You're usually looking at a big Anheuser or a huge forehand shot. Cart path left OB. There's some willows and trees that can catch your shot if you turn it over too much too early on the right side. This is looking like...
So even though this is downhill, you can't really use that to your advantage because it goes straight for a while, like nice and flat, and then you have to go downhill.
I guess that's true.
It's like that 4.7. It plays so much longer than 417.
It does, and what we just saw from Catrina hitting that willow is super common because you want to get aggressive and try to get it all the way there and not mess with the cart path.
And if you hyzer out like we see what Rebecca's doing,
that looks way OB.
That's OB forever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But she can still save a par. She got pretty good distance.
This played as the easiest hole of the day.
I mean, it's not that long.
I know. Soft par 4.
And if you didn't watch the first round or are confused by some of the distances and pars, we play the same tee pads as the MPO, but they just changed the par on some of them. So it's not really a woman-specific course like we're used to on the rest of the tour. That looks like a great shape from Holly. Just a little bit too much turn. It didn't quite air A-I-R out. No. Oh, she's being gentle. That's all right.
God, I thought Rebecca liked us.
Just get out of here, you two. Get out of here.
Rebecca probably left with about 150 feet to the green. It's a fast and skippy green, though, so you want to come in nice and soft. I like this hyzer play.
Either soft or
Hyzer.
account for the skip.
Yep.
Yeah, that was perfect.
The rules of playing on golf courses. There's this one little tree on the green that
I
somehow...
land next to it every time.
always
I was
in the way.
right next to it.
Yeah, I had to do a kneeling putt under it.
Holly leaves herself a bit of a putt for the birdie look.
Henna forced to do a patent pending with that awkward tree stance, and she's so good at these.
Is it awkward? There's a solid shot.
61% of the field taking a birdie, watching Catrina with an eagle kind of layup.
An eagle layup. That's a new one.
A tap-in birdie.
Mm-hmm. Holly for birdie. Nice putt. When Holly's putt is on, she is, I think, one of the better putters in our field.
Mm-hmm.
Super direct, spinny putt. And great way to bounce back after that last hole. Henna getting another birdie as well.
A patent pending and a knee putt. Love that. Showcase all the shots that she's got in her bag.
And Rebecca to save her par after that first OB stroke. No problem.
And Catrina will tap it in.
Another birdie.
3 out of 4 birdies on our lead card. Love that.
Man, Catrina is just charging ahead.
Double digits under par. Like, come on.
Come on.
Hole 9, the third most difficult hole of the day, and it comes down to this drive right here. You got to get through these trees. If you get tangled up early, this hole gets way harder. Ideally, you want to throw a big hyzer out into the field. The further left you land, the closer you are to the basket. It takes that sharp left turn, and your second shot can either be a big sidearm, ideally, or a backhand to this basket that is legitimately 10 feet from the out-of-bounds bunker. There's a hyzer route to get there, but you have to throw over these little sticky trees. So ideally, you want to situate yourself on the left side of the fairway on this drive.
Katrina looks like she was, I can't tell if she was taking the hyzer route and it was low or she just held on a little bit too long, but regardless, she is short right.
And that's like almost an instant par at absolute best.
Yeah.
There's no way to recover from that.
Henna smokes this one. That's a destroyer way out there. She's going to be able to attack for birdie.
That's so far.
Mm-hmm.
That's so far.
Yeah, they moved this one back last year. It used to be on the front side of the bunker, and I think was a little bit more attackable of a hole. Now that second shot, you really have to be... Holly gets caught up as well. You really have to be as far as Henna is to feel comfortable going for it on the second shot.
It's about 250 feet to the end of this gap right here at the end of this fairway. It's a long way to go to hit a small gap. But look at Rebecca with that flex line. Not as left as you want to be, but if you're out of the gap, you are in the clear and
Generally.
good to go.
But likely Rebecca won't get a look for a birdie from there.
Yeah.
At least not a close one.
No, she's probably got, 340 left to the pin?
At least, and it might be kind of a, left to
Turnover.
right, shot. Katrina really putting a ton of power on this one. Hyzering out, but I think she's about pin high looking right at it. So hopefully an easy approach for the par.
Holly going sky, turnover sidearm, just trying to cover some distance. It doesn't really matter where you land here, as long as you're just covering ground.
That was well done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Rebecca going sidearm gets caught up early.
She's really pinched over there, more than I thought. It's going to make that third shot have to be a sidearm as well.
Yeah, I am surprised actually that one was a sidearm and that she didn't just lay up to go par. It seemed kind of aggressive, but also I'm not the one looking at it and she's beating me, so. Henna kind of doesn't fully attack, but gets to circle 2, which is fairly common, I think, just trying to get any kind of a look at it.
And Rebecca would throw a backhand here. That is such a scary shot, like just skirting along those trees.
Ooh.
And
she gets inside the circle.
Man, what a great shot. It's so impressive. Catrina lining up another forehand approach. And unfortunately, I think she trickles into the hazard.
Yep. Should be pretty close. She'll have a chance to save her par. Holly, a little early release.
Yeah,
Leaves
doesn't
it
quite commit to that shot.
Leaves it to about 40-ish feet. Henna for a long look for birdie. Doesn't give it the full commitment.
Holly to save par. Oh, that was a lot of chains.
Yeah, it's a good committed run.
Catrina to save her par from the hazard.
Gosh, she...
Solid as a rock. Oh. Oh, yeah,
math,
she hit early.
Because she hit early.
Nice bogey
and
save.
Geese can't do math. But let's watch that putt again.
Yes. Super clutch.
Catrina's straddle jumpers are looking so strong. And a great putt and par save from Rebecca as well.
What a good recovery with that blemish in the middle of the hole. Only 5 people getting the birdie 3 on this one out of 57 competitors.
I think, yeah, the change in the pin placement made it so there's a lot less birdies the last 2 years.
Yeah, you really do have to have a distance shot, just a big
And
distance
just a lot
sidearm.
of courage on the the approach.
Yeah.
Henna taking the par there. Holly with the bogey.
Wrapping up the front 9, let's check in with the leaderboard, see where everyone is sitting. Catrina Allen obviously holding on to the league, and Ella Hansen sweeping up into second place.
9 down through 14. Dang.
Smoking.
I bet there's some Eagles in there. Ellen Widboom, 7 down through 15. Also excellent. A lot of people under par. Madison Walker well under par in the clubhouse with an 8 down. Honk.
Honk.
Yeah.
Under a lot more people under par today. Even par is still a respectable score out there, but it's looking like under par is the way to move up in the field. The wind does kind of continue in the back 9, and we have 9 more holes to check out. So we hope you guys will come back and hang out. The Founders Club, we know you guys are watching.
Yeah, Justin Zink, you're watching right now. Thank you.
We appreciate you so much, and we'll see you guys on the back.